Tom, shooting slump officially over?
I mean, like I said the other day, man, it's gonna happen. I just continue to trust your work. You know what I mean? And the shots I took last night, the night before, like or 2 nights ago, excuse me. The shots that I make, what I mean, try like I said, biggest thing is trusting it. The first half, you good looks, it's not going in. Just trust it in your work. But I wouldn't call it a slump. I call it like a little mishap. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, trusting your work, and like I said, my teammates and everybody trust me to continue to go, continue to encourage me. So it makes it easy.
I know you're not looking for revenge or anything, but after, taking the first loss up there,
Mm.
to be able to execute down the stretch and beat this team, what does that mean going forward?
I mean, that's who we want to be. What I mean, I think you always want to get a team back when they beat you, regardless of who it is, and just continue to have our imprint on the game. And at a night like tonight, man, it comes from so many different people, different ways, and that's the biggest thing. Is we could have easily just folded and said like, you know what, they got it. JT had a hell of a game, but also the third quarter, making his imprint, and for us to just continue to battle and fight and claw. That's what it's going to be, And if we see these guys in the playoffs, it's going to be the same thing again. So like, just continuing to believe in each other, and we all did it, throughout the game.
Tim.
Obviously, you guys lost a couple in a row. You're down at halftime. You're down in the third quarter instead when Jason gets going. Kenny, you can talk about how the crowd was kind of getting out of it. What sort of allowed you to be able to draw the team back in the game, and how important was it to respond both to last week's loss and also the last couple games to come back?
Well, I mean, I think that just speaks to the growth of our group. You know what I mean? I think, you go back when I first got here. Obviously, we're younger. We're not as familiar with each other. You kind of, fold in those situations, and not just that you want to. It's just like the inexperience. And now, when you're growing and continue to build with the team, when you go through moments, that third quarter kind of felt like game three. When it was like I was just watching it too, to be honest. They went from like 2 point game. We had 48 points, and it was like 71-48 within like 4 minutes. And we didn't respond. They made a run, we didn't respond. So like that, you're just seeing the growth, and that's the biggest thing I feel like is for us, just continuing to build. Like I've been telling you, like if we continue to grow and continue to learn from these different things, that's really what it's about. And that's what tonight was. I mean, like you said, we could have easily been like, all right, we're turning the ball over, different things, not getting stops. Offense kind of boggled down. But who are we when we're hit adversity? And that's what I've been saying. It's great to learn through these wins, but like when we face adversity, who are we going to be? And that's what you're continuously seeing from this group. We've been tried in games and different things, and so I'm proud of the way we fought.
Well, Kenny talked before the game, but I wanted to see what you guys would do when you didn't hit shots. Obviously, you guys have been hitting a ton of shots to start the year. Does it mean any more, especially playing a team like this, to struggle like you guys did offensively for a lot of the night and
Yeah.
still find a way to get
Yeah, I think that's part of the learning, the learning that I'm talking about is just being able to respond. Like, yeah, the shots aren't always going to go in. I mean, the teams are going to score. Like, how do we react and how do we continue? Like, I feel like that's been and even if, like I said, like even if the game got scrambled and we lost at the last second, tonight, like the fact that we did what we did throughout the whole game, like that's a building block for me. That's kind of where we're all judging it. It's great, like I said, it's always great to come back and win this game, but like just continuing to learn and from your mistakes, and that's what you're seeing from us as a whole. It's not just one individual either, which is great.
Danny.
One of the things Kenny mentioned about you after yesterday was that your demeanor just kind of doesn't change in these moments. That you just sort of stay even keel, and the coaches even said go up and down. But for you, how important is staying in that same frame of mind for being able to tap into what you did in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, you can't let you can't let shot making dictate, your aura, your vibe around the group. That's the definition of front running. You know what I mean? When things are good, you're good, and when things are bad, you're bad. Like if I'm gonna be the leader, I got to make sure I'm always, even keeled throughout. We can be up 20, we can be down 20. Even when I talk to you guys, we going on a streak. I'm like, all right, well, it's November. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just continuing to stay here because at the end of the day, like, that's what it's going to be. And if I set that tone, everybody else continues to follow. And we got a lot of guys that are that way as well, but it's definitely important for me just to continue to be patient, and understand that, whether it's shot making, not playing well, you're tired, you're fatigued, like, just stay here. You trust in yourself. And the biggest thing I tell everybody is just trust in your work, trust what you prepare for. So when you get into these moments, you're not looking, you're not searching, I've been more tired than I was tonight, in the summertime. Like you're mentally okay. I've missed more shots in the summertime. I had to run more sprints, you know what I mean? So like understanding that like you're good. Just continue to do the right things and go about the game the right way, and you'll be rewarded.
There were several possessions in the fourth quarter where Boston sought out Darius to get him switched on to Tatum. What did you think of the way Darius played defensively down the
Phenomenal. I think we when you watch the game as, you know, a fan, you kind of see the guy maybe scoring in the 2-point range, but at the end of the day, they're a 3-point shooting team. You know, if they're taking tough contested twos and he's continuing to, you know, body him and make it tough, like, we live. You know what I mean? It's the NBA. Guys are going to hit shots. You know what I mean? I think for him, taking that challenge, you know, continuously and not really hanging his head, being like, look, I'm here. You know what I mean? And then when again stops when it's needed. You know what I mean? I think that's part of that growth that I'm talking about, is like understanding that, all right, I bet I'm gonna take this challenge. Yeah, you might hit a few, but like at the end of the day, no, like I'm here. You know what I mean? He got stops when needed, even in the first half, body and, you know, staying home, not flopping, and it also helps when you don't lose 15 to 20 pounds throughout the season. So now you're built for it, and he's putting the work in, and you're seeing it. You know what I mean? I think that's what we all respect. That's the biggest thing. It rubs off on everybody else.
When you talk about Isaac Okoro, we all know what he's able to do on the defensive end, but when he's able to knock down shots, we look back to the last playoffs and what he wasn't able to do. If he's able to knock down these shots consistently as he's done this season, how good can this team be, and how impactful is he on that end of the floor?
Man, big time. You know, if teams want to leave you open, you know, you make the right play, you knock it down. Like I said, he's another guy. He's in the gym every night. He's in the gym every morning, working on his 3-point shot. To then you get to a number where he's shooting 39% last year, whatever it was. And obviously in the playoffs he didn't shoot the way he wanted to, but you know, we trust him and he trusts in himself. But the biggest thing that I'm happy with, and I think we're all happy with, is the end of the game, he comes up, set the screen, slips, him in the half roll, hits Evan. Like, that's the play for me. If they're gonna guard you with Kristaps, you being able to play in the half roll, being able to make those decisions, you know, I think that's what's gonna elevate us as a group. You know, yeah, the 3-point shots for sure, but like if you're in the paint and you're creating and you're finding ways to get guys, like that was what we work on all summer. You know, getting in there, making the right read, not panicking, and like that's the growth I love to see. Like the 3-point's gonna be a 3-point shot, but when you're in there making those decisions late game and executing that way, that's huge for us and big time from him.
The defense has had some lapses in the last couple of games. You guys held Kristaps and JT to under 10 in the fourth quarter. For you guys to be able to step up on that end of the floor and reinvigorate your defensive identity, how important is that for you in the showcase for your guys?
Yeah, you need to go through it. We've had success defensively, but you need to get your ass kicked a few times defensively. You know what I mean? Like you do. It's all part of the process. You know, I'm understanding. All right, we had a really good film session. You know, yesterday about the defense, trying to figure things out. And you know, I'm not, like I told you somebody the other day. Like, I'm not worried about where we are just because we're continuing to build and continuing to learn. But sometimes it's not always going to be sunshines and rainbows. You're going to get your butt kicked, and it's how do you respond. And like tonight, like tonight, you know, you could, like I said, could easily fold it. JT had to go in. Kristaps is getting different things, but we continue, you know, to persevere and find ways. And it's just a mentally tough team. That's what we are, and it's continuing to build on that.
To follow up on that, what were some of your top priorities defensively heading into this, and how do you think they played out?
Just being more physical at the point, you know what I mean, making it tougher and then making it's tough. Some games the ref calls the foul, sometimes they don't, you know what I mean? It was up to the crowd on home or away, you know, that'd be a foul in play, you know what I mean? But like being able to be physical, hit first. I think for me, like setting the tone when Sam Hauser got the handoff, getting the steal, like being there in the point, you know, in Boston, he gets that 3 off, you know, like kind of setting that tone. DG being there on the switch when Sam Hauser has to push him, he's there, he's blowing the screen up, you know, he's blowing the switch up. That's kind of what it's going to be. Playing playoff basketball now, you know, so we're not, when we get to April, we're not just like, oh, this is when we start doing it. We're figuring it out now. And there are going to be some foul calls. You know, they're going to call some things just for us being aggressive, but like continuing to set that and making that our identity, being a physical team throughout the season will help definitely to playoff time.
JG?
Evan really struggled the first 3 quarters, but he turned it on in the fourth like you did. How big was he in the fourth, and but just didn't get his head down?
That's the biggest thing, is being even killed. You know, like I told y'all, this is Evans continuously growing, you know, in different ways. You know what I mean? And for him to continue to go at Kristaps, continue to be physical, continue to be strong. You know, I got on him for going on the shot fake at the end of the game, trusting himself. But like, it's all part of the process. And I hate to keep repeating myself when I say that, but like that's just continuing to build it. You know, he's been phenomenal the past, all season, but like especially the past 3 games. You know, and here against Atlanta, in Atlanta. And then tonight you can kind of be like, oh man, no, he responds when he's needed. That's what we're gonna need from him on a night basis.
And you're now second all-time in Cavs history, 30-point games. You passed World Be Free. Does the world name World Be Free mean anything to you?
I mean, yeah, you know, 2K. No, I mean, to one be in history books like that, you know, is always an honor. I think I got like 500 more to go to catch Bron or something like that. But I think definitely to pass a guy like Will be free and then Kyrie, like it just when you sit back and you look at what you're able to accomplish, it's definitely a blessing. You know, to be able to pass a legend like Will be free and a legend in Kyrie Irving. You know, it's great to be in that company. But at the end of the day, man, I always say, I gotta win a ring. You know what I mean? Like this is great. I'm honored. I'm always gonna say I'm honored, but you know, you gotta find a way to bring the city another championship, and that's the goal.
We've talked over the years about when you take over a game and when you let somebody else grow in that moment. This is an older team now. They've been through some things. So tonight in the fourth quarter for you, when do you know it's time for you to go? Now.
In the third, I kind of felt it, especially. I'm being selfish when I say this. When JT hit the shot on me, I was like, all right, you know, because he said something, you know, just like when you're feeling good, not to me, but like when you're feeling that's all right, cool. He's starting to get it going. They're starting to get confidence. They're starting to build. We're turning it over. I think George. I missed a floater on Dave Bridges. I may be out of order when I say this. And then George loses the ball off his foot, like different things. That's when you're ahead. You're like, okay, you know, not gonna force it, but you're trying to make your imprint. And I really in the third, I was just waiting, just trying to figure out where to go because you're not trying to, you know, it's a fine line. You know, you're not trying to go hero mode, you know, for 15 straight minutes, but like also being like, okay, I'm trying to figure it out. So then when the start of the fourth came, you kind of that initial burst, like, all right, bet, and make an impact and see what happens. And then also coming out and trusting that the guys are going to continue to do what's necessary to strike the lead. And then when I come back in, you know, kind of be like, all right, we're going, like it's time to go. And I was just telling somebody like, shots may not fall. I may go 0 for 6, you know what I mean? But understanding that you have to find a way to be like, all right, I'm going to be aggressive right here, get to my spots. And if we go out, we'll go out like this. And that's what tonight was.
Go right for Tom, guys.
Hey.